Hey guys, welcome back to Free Game. Luke Jewelers, your host, co-host Jeremy Todd, and Ali Lalani. Ali's basically a jack of all trades, as we're finding out. We're sitting here, one of the owners of Luxe Jewelers, also now a professional wrestler, and also sleight of hand magician, as we're finding out. So just kind of as we get started, we'll probably end up getting back to the other stuff and probably focusing on that. But how long have you been in business with Luxe Jewelers?
We've been in business since 2012. I've been in jewelry since I was 15 years old. It was my first job. Like, while I was in high school, I knew I wanted to make money. I saw an opportunity to work at a jewelry store in a mall. It did belong to my uncle, but I was like, you know what? It's a good place to start, and I just kind of stuck with it. I fell in love with it. I fell in love with not just selling the jewelry, but like being able to create my own jewelry and have people say like, yeah, this is a unique piece, a piece of art that was created, just for me.
Speaking of pieces of art, unique pieces.
Yeah.
For those of you guys that are listening to iTunes, Spotify, and not seeing YouTube, Ali's got a $80,000 badass watch on
Flooded
right now.
Cartier.
It's $80,000 right now, but by the end of this week it might be $85,000. Just letting you know, the prices of these are going up like crazy just because the demand is so high on these Cartier watches. This Cartier skeleton, it's got about 25 carats of diamonds on here.
Jesus.
And they're all VS1 clarity.
Oh,
so
no.
this is a good example of our work. It's all hand set. Every hole is drilled by hand, every diamond is sat by hand, and all the prongs are tightened by hand. So you get really close setting on these, and they look beautiful.
Yeah.
So your uncle was in it, and you got into it after that, and then obviously I've been in the store. I'm presuming it's just all family.
So Luxe is actually me. I'm the CEO, and then it's my brother, who's my partner, and our cousin, who's also our partner, and everybody else is kind of like either family or they've become family, even though they're not like literal family.
Right.
The people we hire, we like to say we're a family. So we are a family business in that sense.
Nice.
We treat everybody with respect. If anybody has an issue, they can come to the CEO. Like it's an open door policy. So
Right.
that's how we operate our business, and that's how we take care of everybody, including our customers. So
Yeah.
I would say our customers are our family too. So if they ever have an issue or a problem, well, we like to be there and take care of that. I always say that in business, things go wrong. You can't stop that from happening.
Of course.
If you have a successful business, things will go wrong in it. It's how you handle what goes wrong.
Yeah.
That sets
Turn
you apart.
complaints into new customers or more business.
Absolutely. And I mean, even with if you guys don't mind me being candid here, like
No.
you guys are my customers too.
Right.
You guys have shopped with me, and both of you have had some slight things you wanted to change after you've made the purchase.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been open with you guys.
Super.
And like,
Yeah.
if you guys ever want anything, my door's open. We can work with it.
Of course.
I'll work with you to get to where you need to be.
Yeah,
So yeah.
Basically, guys, Ali's the one that made the grills that I'm wearing right now. Also originally had tops. And originally, he gave me what I wanted, but I just ended up not liking it after. So we're actually changing it up, and I'm going to get the full tops. Before I had like just the canines with the bar.
Right.
But I ended up not liking that. I was talking funny with them. So I was basically like, all right, I'm going to switch it up. And then, no question, Ali just picked it up, and we're going to get that done too.
Right. Yeah. So Luke wanted the full tops instead of just a bar going across, and I tried everything I could to try to make that happen, but at the end of the day it ended up being like, we got to remold it and just redo it from step one. So that's what we're doing now. We're going to go back to step one and get Luke what he wants.
Hell yeah.
And we kind of do that in insurance too. The first thing I teach my guys is, as soon as you get a client, you save their phone number. So if they ever call, you answer on the first ring. Hey, what's going on? What can I do for you? Because if they're calling us, it's probably something happened.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or
I mean?
they're confused about it's not
Yeah.
always bad,
No, it's
but
not
it's
always-
nice to have their name,
Yeah.
so you answer them by name.
And companies make mistakes too, so it's just kind of like, hey, cool, what happened? All right, let me see if I can get to the bottom of it, and we just keep it super upfront, and that's honestly been the key to our success.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's just a matter of clarity, right?
Yeah.
So I had a friend of mine who's been a friend of mine since high school, and he bought a ring from me. He went to go get it cleaned somewhere else, which is perfectly fine, but those jewelers probably didn't know his connection with me, and I guess they were trying to throw shade or maybe just educate him on something he didn't know. But he's like, hey, this ring is yellow, but it wasn't originally yellow. It was white, and they plated it yellow. So he texts me, and he's like, hey, is this true? And I was like, I don't know if you remember this, but when you were buying the ring, it was white, and you said it's perfect, but it's just not yellow. And I told you that I would dip it yellow for you. And he's like, oh, I do remember that. So, it's just a matter of clarity.
Right.
Like sometimes they don't remember, but I remember every detail about your purchase because I put my passion into it. I put my heart and soul into it. So, sometimes it's just that. Like you just have to clarify and be on the same page with the guy.
In order of your passions, would you rank wrestling, jewelry or magic, what would you say number one?
So when you came to my store and got your grills made,
Yeah.
I would have ranked jewelry as number one.
Okay.
Right now, I'll rank wrestling as number one.
All right, so wrestling's
nice.
clearly going because that was only a couple months ago.
That was I've been in it for, I think we're coming on week 11 now, so almost 3 months.
New.
Yeah, I never stepped in a ring. 11 weeks ago was my first time stepping into a ring or experiencing that at all, and now it just brings me joy. When you start, your coach, if you ever take a pro wrestling camp, your coach, if there's a good coach, he'll ask you that by the end of the camp, I want to know why. I want to know why you did this. Okay, and they don't ask you right away, and they do that on purpose because a lot of people don't know why. There's just something they're trying. They're trying to step their foot in it for the first time. And he's like, by the end of the camp, I want you to tell me why in one sentence. I want you to tell me why. Not 3 sentences, not a paragraph. In one sentence, I want you to tell me why. And my why at first was everybody's same why. I watched it when I was a kid. I was such a fan. Da-da-da-da. And he 8-miled me. Okay, he basically was like, and your why can't be, I was a fan as a kid.
Oh,
right.
And he 8-miled all of us. Okay. So he B-rabbited us real hard. So, we were like, okay, we got to think about this. And I'm like sitting here kind of stressing it like, well, that was my why. And I really don't know why. And so I called my best friend 3 weeks in, and I was telling him about what I was doing, like my experience so far and what's going on in the training. And he stopped me. He goes, Ollie, hold on a second. That's great and all, but I can literally hear joy in your voice as you're talking about this. I'm getting goosebumps saying this. He goes, I haven't heard this joy in your voice in a long time. My best friend since 7th grade told me this. So he gave me my why. So I didn't even know my own why until somebody told it to me. And then I further iterated that to my wife, and I told her that he said that. And she's like, yeah, I was going to say, I think you found your zone of genius. Like you
That's
just
a beautiful term.
Zone of genius. You just prosper while you're in there. You love to talk about it when you're at home. I put my wife in holds all the time. she's my best friend.
I was going to say, like, when they
time.
start training, like, what do they do when you first start? Like,
I don't want to give it all away because they do make good money from the training, but yeah. So they teach you the fundamentals of wrestling, which is like when they start a match, exactly what you see: a tie up, where it goes from there, arm ringers, arm bars, all kind of holds. Mat wrestling. After that, they teach you more advanced stuff. So they teach you, like body slams and suplexes and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
You're taught how to run the ropes properly. You're taught, and you don't realize it, but inside the ring there are lanes you got to stay in. Okay. So if you ever see people run ropes, they run right in the middle of the ring from left to right on TV, and there's a reason for that. It's because whatever action happens has to stay in a certain place so that everybody can see it. Everybody gets the same show. Okay. It's also so that you run the ring properly, you have to run the middle of the ropes because they're tightened. So if you run the end of the ropes, that's going to hurt. It's going to hurt you really bad. Yeah, and it's going to mess up whatever you have planned. So there are good reasons for them to teach us that.
Wow.
And, that's stuff that you're not meant to do. Your body is not conditioned as you're born to, like, do this stuff naturally. Yeah. So it's kind of like you have to learn it very well and you have to create a habit of it. And, our bodies aren't made to crash into each other the way they do in a wrestling ring. So, that's some getting used to too. It's not for everybody. It's not. And, for everybody that I've told that, hey, I'm doing this and, in confidence, I haven't told too many people, but half the people I tell like, oh, that's fake, isn't it? Oh, wrestling's fake. I'll tell you this. When anybody told me that they were a pro wrestler like years ago, that also went through my mind. It never came out my mouth because I was raised better, but it always went through my mind. Like, okay, it's not. Yeah, until you've stepped through those ropes and you've done that, don't say that.
I was gonna say those guys seem.
I have
so
to
athletic.
imagine. Yeah,
like, that's
I have to imagine that's super painful.
Don't say that because I'm more sore than I've been ever in my life, but I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life.
That's so cool.
So it's a weird love of it, but that's I would say wrestling, jewelry. To go back to your original, I didn't forget,
bro. That's a great explanation.
Wrestling, jewelry, just because I get to do my own thing in jewelry too. I get to make my own stuff, and I get to work with people like you guys who like let me do my thing. You know what I'm saying? Like we're on the same page, and we create things that I love to make. And then I would say magic, just because I feel like I'm horrible at it. Like I love it, but I'm just
like room to
horrible
grow
at it.
kind of thing. Yeah,
Definitely room to grow. Yeah, I was, I could probably I fooled you guys a little bit earlier, but I could fool you guys. Yeah, I could fool you guys for like a second, but like I'm not gonna be like stage ready for that stuff. So
Would you try to incorporate that into your wrestling gig?
magic?
Yeah.
No, so
The diamond chic.
Diamond chic. I'm
That's
obviously
badass.
incorporating more jewelry. Yeah, into my gimmick, but it's our coaches said to draw real life into it to keep it authentic, and I love that idea because I'm incorporating my culture, the chic part,
Right.
and then I'm incorporating what I love to do, which is the jewelry part.
that's cool.
So it comes with like the diamond chic being kind of a celebrity in his own right, where he hangs out with celebrities, he makes jewelry for them. He does his thing, and he's the guy that is the new airplane flying, Learjet riding, limousine riding.
We were watching that clip from Ric Flair,
He's bringing back that kind of like
That's so cool.
grandiose to the culture, and that's kind of what I want to be. I want to be an exclusive VIP experience for everybody, if that makes sense.
That's cool.
You know what I mean? Like you can live the nice life through me. Yeah.
So kind of another tie-in. Like before, we were talking about how we proposed to your wife before we were on air. The Ric Flair reference, right? So actually, he goes to Rock's thing now. But I was telling you before, like, hey, he's gonna come. It'd be cool for you to meet him. I didn't know you actually knew him. I was just telling Mike and Amanda about that. Our friends at Gwinnett, Business RadioX that help us here. They were telling me Ric Flair lived here for 4 years. And there's like an autograph thing from here, like from one of the bartenders that's still here, and just kind of like a crazy little tie-in at this exact spot.
So crazy.
Like we doing that. Ric Flair was one of the residents. That used to be one of my favorite wrestlers. Shawn Michaels was my all-time favorite, but like Ric Flair was one of them.
Yeah, Shawn is amazing. Rick is like a legend. So the fact that he's so close to this area, like I know for a fact that he's still in this area, like not too far from here. So when he comes up to my store sometimes at the Mall of Georgia, and
he's still blinged out, right?
Of course, man, always.
What's his thing? What is he like when he comes in? What's he always looking for?
He's
like a ring or a watch.
He's so cool. Like he's more of the type of guy where I'm like, hey, I just made this, and he'll like love it. So it's like he's not there for like one certain thing. Sometimes he'll just like let me show him things. Like it's kind of like being a curator at a museum where I could be like, oh, these are the new paintings we have in. And he's like, oh, I love that. I don't like that much. I like that one, and then that's how kind of our rapport is with him. So he'll come through and like look at things. He may not buy all the time, but he likes to look, and he's a fan of my art. So he always says that he just loves the fact that whatever I create, he like loves it. So I don't know if it's just me creating it or if it's the actual quality I use, but
probably
he's
both.
just
Combo.
It might be a combo, but he just loves it. And I just know that he's referred his daughter to me. So his daughter is actually a performer, a wrestler.
She's WWE too, right?
WWE. I didn't know if I could say
women's
any.
Champion. Oh,
I didn't know if I could say any. Companies' names, but she's a big wrestler, yeah. And she's gotten stuff made for me, and she loves my stuff too. Like I personally hand delivered a pendant that she made for her fiance. And he's a wrestler, and it was his family's mask, and I got to make it in diamonds.
Whoa.
And yeah, I delivered it, and I did crazy on the detail. The small things are the big things, which has always been my thing in jewelry. But it's funny because my wrestling coaches say that too all the time, and they're like, it's the small things that are the big things.
It's like kind of like life.
Absolutely,
no matter what you're
yeah.
into, the details matter.
Yeah, and it's another thing that I've seen like on my wrestling journey where it's like I take a lot of my jewelry journey and it ties into my wrestling journey. When my coaches tell me things where I'm like, that completely makes sense to me because I've been doing it for years. You know what I mean? Like the small things are the big things. Build up and build to a point. Like matches, you have to build up to a point where you get the audience invested in it and there's a payoff. Same thing with jewelry. Like, if you come to me and you're like, hey, I want to make this, yeah, I'll draw it out, but then it's just paper. Then we'll go to the next step, which is I'll make it a 3D model on the computer so you can kind of see it in real life. Then I'll print out a wax so you'll have it in real life. Then I'll cast it so you'll see what it is in gold. Then I'll set the stones on it. Then you see what it looks like. Then I polish it, and it's like the finished product.
I was literally just about to ask you, when you make your own pieces,
right?
What's the process?
That's the process right there, man, from start to finish. Like we start 2D and go to 3D and make it, beautiful. And at the end, like I've worked with Atlanta United. I've made pieces for them, and I've showed them start to finish. Like, hey, I drew out what I was gonna make. Then I'd show them on the computer. and then made a 3D wax, casted it, set the diamonds, polished it, made like a whole little video package for them. They loved it, so they ended up using it with Trinidad James when they revealed their jerseys. Yeah. So he was wearing a few of my pieces when he was in New York, and I got to be there too, and experience that. That was awesome.
That's so cool. Do you have? I don't know if you can say names, but do you have a favorite customer?
I have a lot of favorite customers. Not all of them are celebrities. So a favorite customer that I could say that people would know is Young M.A.
Oh,
she's
nice.
a real big supporter of ours. And besides that, she's kind of like a brother to me. Like, we could just hang out and shoot the shit. Like, we don't have to, always be doing business. Like, we just relate on so many levels, like mind-wise and like our interests and our likes, the standards that we hold. So it just kind of was like a natural thing. Someone else that I do business with that I'm really close to is I do a lot of business with like Saints players, like the NFL team, and so Sheldon Rankins is actually one of my really good friends / clients, and every month he's like, I have this occasion or I need a gift for this person, and literally he's in New Orleans and I'm here, and he just texts me and I'm like, I send him a video and he's like, I love it, and like I'll just send it to him and he'll send me a wire.
That
like,
trust.
Yeah, it's super, like, I trust him, he trusts me, it's a good relationship, and that's somebody who, like, he's not really a household name, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to turn on MTV and see Sheldon right there.
Right.
But to me, he's so high in my book, you know what I mean? Like, like to me, he's, like, up here just because of, like, not just the business we do, but, like, how we talk to each other. Like, there's a mutual respect and a friendship there. There's something genuine there, you know what I mean?
That's cool.
And then, there is another big client that I deal with. I'm going to reserve the name for now just because that person was talking about coming out with me on my wrestling debut kind of like as a manager.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
So, yeah. So I'm going to see if that goes through first. Hopefully it does. Fingers crossed. But I'm a big believer in like not jinxing things. So,
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm gonna reserve that. But we deal with a lot of people.
I was going to say, when we came to the store with our buddy, dude, you were super chill.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like the owner of it. You're making pieces for people spending $100,000. And, we're just over there trying to, get into it. And you just treated us so like, what's up, man? Like, it was just cool.
That's
like
why
we're so excited to have you on
that.
here.
Yeah, it's like a family vibe. Like, whoever walks in, it's like family to me.
Super cool.
It's not like I hold you to, like, prejudge you on, like, what you're going to spend with me and stuff like that. I don't really, at the end of the day, I'm not really money hungry. I'm more like work hungry. Like, I'd rather be able to do work, like good work. You know what I mean?
Be
like,
proud of something.
Yeah, absolutely.
The money comes secondary.
Well, yeah, money to me is like it's gonna come.
Right.
Like I have the tools and I have the mind.
Income is the outcome.
Yeah, exactly. Income is always the outcome, regardless. So I don't have to push for it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are gonna pay me for my time and my efforts because I put love into those things.
Okay.
And it's worth it. My efforts are worth it at the end. I know that. So that I'm comfortable with like not being pushy as a salesman. Like, just to get money. Like, I'll push you into things like, hey, let's try putting diamonds on this or this configuration or these kind of diamonds because I think it's trippy and different and nobody else has it. Like, I'll be a little bit pushy on that.
Okay.
But
like the artistic side.
Right. But it won't be like pushy to be like, oh, but it's an extra $15,000. Like, to me, that's like, you should know why it's an extra $15,000 because I just told you nobody has this. Like, we're pioneering something. That's completely different. $15,000 in jewelry to pioneer something is nothing.
Right.
It's nothing to say I'm the first one to have this, or I'm, this is like with Young M.A. I made her piece, and it's like a New York style piece, but it's like MYA, like her initials, YMA, and we put like really big emerald cuts in there that were just VVS. Like, this thing is crazy. Like, it sparkles like crazy, and I have not seen anybody in Atlanta do that before. And I told her that, and I was like, this is gonna be a first, like, coming out of Atlanta. In New York, maybe somebody did it. In LA, maybe, but in Atlanta, nobody really did it like this before. And so when we made it, she was so happy with it. Like, she was in the store. We had our videographer, everybody come through.
I think I saw that on the Instagram page.
Yeah, it was. She went crazy on all day on Instagram. She was shouting us out. She just loved it, in love with it. And like at the beginning, it was kind of like, I was telling her why it would cost this much more, and she kind of got it. She was with it. But like when I finally put it in her hands, she really understood it. And that's most of the time. That's the thing. It's like, you got to trust me until I put this in your hands, and then you're gonna realize what's As far as more clients go that I'm really good with, 30 Rock, he's a guy who Made the Beat for the Box by Roddy Ricch.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. I'm really, really cool with 30. He's like my brother too. Like we hang out and outside of work and just, you know, like we'll smoke a hookah or just chill and and talk. And he was actually nominated 3 times last night for Grammys.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So I don't think he won any, but he was nominated just to be nominated.
I mean, that song by itself, 2019, was like the most played song, right?
Absolutely.
On Spotify and iTunes or something crazy.
And that song got nominated 3 times last night. So I think if the Grammys were held in 2020, they would have actually won.
Yeah.
But because they've had, you know, some time to like have new stuff.
What have you done for me lately? Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that song was like once he created it and it was out, I was in different cities. This is before COVID, obviously. I was in different cities in clubs, and I'd like hit them at 4 a.m. on a FaceTime. Like, they're playing the song. And it was like every night.
Blew up, dude.
Like every night. And every night he'd pick up and just be like, and just like probably go back to sleep right after that. Right, you know, like this guy's bothering me.
That's
but
hilarious.
Like, yeah, he'd like pick up and jam out with me for a little bit, and just I'd show him like the whole club is vibing to your thing. So like I remember when we were in Miami at Club 11. It's a super club. It's a huge club.
Yeah.
And everything was cool, but they started playing that song. People lost their minds. Everybody was going crazy. The dancers were going crazy. And like I hit him up and I showed him everything, and he's like, "Yo, that's crazy. I'm gonna be there with you next time." And then the pandemic happened.
Oh,
like, I know, right?
Club 11. I originally was living in Miami before I came up here. I don't know if I ever told you a story, but when I was living there, my buddy Scott, who now works with me, he was a professor at Weber State, or Weber State, however you pronounce it, in Utah. And he comes to visit with this other guy, right? I pick him up, doing the whole Miami thing, showing him around. I was like, yo, there's this new like club/strip club that's never like closed since they've opened. So I bring him to 11. As we're walking in, I tell his boy, I go like, no offense, man, you just look like a mark. I was like, these girls are going to eat you alive, bro. Like, he's got like a bandage on his head and all this, right? We walk in, immediately some girl walks up to him, grabs him by the hand, and is like having him buy me beers. And I was like, yo, just tell this girl no. Tell this girl no. Tell this girl no. So, like 7 hours later, 6 hours later, right? I'm looking for Scott. This is before I was even doing like sales, right? Like I was still just bartending. And he said, like cross-legged at the front of the stage, like just drinking a beer. And I was like, yo, man, I live here. I got to go. I was like, you want to come or you staying? So he leaves. He's leaving with me. We look for his friend, and I see his friend, and he's still with the same girl.
Oh, no.
And I was like, bro, we got to go.
Oh, no.
I was like, we got to go, man. And he looks at us, looks down. She's holding his hand. She like yanks his hand a little bit. He looks at us, looks at her, looks at us, looks at her. Goes, I'm good. And I was like, all right, bro. Like, I warned you. Like, I'm not taking any part of this, right? We leave. This is the first night. We don't see or hear from this guy for 2 nights. Oh, no. The third day, I'm dropping Scott off at the airport, and as I'm driving there, he gets a call from his boy, and his boy's like, yo, I just left. And I was like, motherfucker, you just left? Like, it's 3 days later, he goes, yeah, all my cards are maxed out.
They don't close.
And I go, oh my God, man, I'm so sorry. I warned you. I told you. He goes, you're sorry. I live in Utah. What the fuck am I going to do? He goes, as soon as I pay him off, I'm coming back.
Oh my God. Yes.
I'll never forget that.
I've never been to Miami.
Yeah, so 11 doesn't close.
They don't close.
At all.
They don't close.
Ever. So the craziest story I have in 11, my boy Ryan runs the place pretty much. Like Ryan Waterman, he's one of the people that you like. Basically, he gets the tables set up and everything. Nice. You know, he helps run the show. And my boy Ryan, I went in there and he introduced me to who's another close friend of mine now. His name is Michael Gade. He's there. You know, he works for UMF, Ultra Music Festival, and he's actually their legal counsel. So, or he was at the time. I don't know if situations changed, but he introduced me to him. We had such a good time. That was that same night that I FaceTime 30, and we were about to leave. It was like 4 a.m., right? We're about to leave. We go outside. Michael also leaves. Michael stops. So we stop. We look at Michael. Michael looks at us, and he goes, it's my birthday. And we're like, oh, happy birthday. And he's like, let's go back in there. Like, all right, shoot. So walk right back inside. We've been there since 11 p.m., okay? Wow. We leave at 10 a.m. Go outside. Birds are chirping.
Right.
It's bright, sunny Miami morning. You know, everything is. I was like, did we really just stay for
That's
11?
the trippy thing about Miami, man. It's like there's always somewhere open.
Yep. And I was like, did we really just stay for 11 hours at 11? And my cousin goes, yeah, we did. I was like, we're all getting tattoos. All of us.
I love it.
Yeah, and it was like awesome because from the time that we walked out.
Do you have an 11 tattoo?
No, not yet, but it's coming, obviously. From the time we walked out and had that conversation, walked back in, every shot, bottle, whatever was on the house because it was Michael's birthday.
Wow.
That's how they take care of us. Yeah.
That place is crazy expensive. So
that's
huge
how they
savings.
But I'll turn around and I'll get like, a $10,000 table one night just to support Ryan. Just to be like, yeah, I'm here to support if I'm down there.
It's business on the other end, yeah.
Absolutely. One hand washes the other. It's always about connections, who you take care of. And the world is so small that Ryan saw that Shaq was one of my clients. Shaq is also one of my really good clients.
I saw you shouting him out on your wrestling page the other day.
Absolutely, yeah. So Shaquille O'Neal is one of my really good clients. Wow. He's like a big brother to me. Like, I love the guy. And he actually trained at the Nightmare Factory for the match he had against Cody Rhodes at AEW. So, there was times where he'd walk in and he'd just like make eye contact with me, and literally I'd be working out and I'd just turn around and look at him and we'd just be like this, and I'd keep working out, and like people in my class were like, Did you Yeah, Shaquille O'Neal.
Did you just give a nod to Shaq?
Yeah, it's cool.
Without saying anything?
And it's just it's so, to me, it's like freaking awesome because, I've watched him growing up, NBA legend,
of course.
And then to know the guy now, and he I have his number, we FaceTime each other, he tells me, hey, I need this, I need that. Sure, Shaq, I'll make it for you, get it done. And then he just comes in and picks stuff up. Like, it's awesome. And then he shouted me out on his show, which is A Day in the Life of Shaq, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah?
Where he was training for the wrestling thing.
I don't know what that is, actually.
I think it's a show he has on TNT, I believe, and it's kind of like a docuseries on his life. And, he brought a film crew when he was training one time, and, we presented a piece to him, and he put us on the show. So I don't know if it's aired yet or not, but we're going to be on that show.
That's so cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's helping, he's helping our business too, and he gets it. Like, he's very business-minded, and he's a very smart businessman.
He's got a ton of businesses.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's like Papa John's.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he's making more money now than he ever did in the NBA.
Yeah.
And he's learned to make money in his sleep, which is the goal.
Right.
Like
residual.
I think Warren Buffett said, if you don't learn to make money in your sleep, you're going to work till you die.
Right.
So, that's the thing. Like, he's learned to do that. And for anybody to learn to do that, it's a big thing. But, like, for somebody who basically is treated like, an athlete only, like, to get out of that and to be able to own businesses, it's not every athlete, right? And not every athlete's going to have that ability to do that. So, you get accustomed to a certain life. You see your teammates live in a certain way. You want to do the same thing. You turn around and look, you're in more debt than you're making money. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like you've maxed out all your cards. You've loaned, you've taken so many loans, bought houses for what? You know what I mean? And then, like, at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to generate income like you did before because it's literally your body that's generating the income.
It's going to wear down.
And time is coming for us all. You know what I mean? Like, me starting wrestling at the age of 33, it's kind of, I'm in class with people that are 19, 20 years old. Like, they knew that they wanted to do this at that age. I didn't know I want to do that at that age. But I'm not going to give less than what they give. You know what I mean? I'm going to give 100% like they give 100% just because I love it. You know what I mean? But it's kind of scary because I know that, 10 years from now, I'm going to be 43 and they're going to be 33. You know what I mean? Like, or 32 or whatever. Right. Like, so it's a scary thing to think about it. But time comes for us all. You can't stop that.
I mean, that ties back into your why for the wrestling, which was it brings you joy.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Anything that brings you joy keeps you young.
True. I would say that's very true. Young at heart. A lot of people don't know I'm 33 when they meet me just because they've met me through the jewelry, and that brings me joy too. And they're just like, oh, dude, how old are you? Are you 25, 27? I'm like, 33. You're 33? Like, yeah, I am. Like, people, like, it's just, you're right. Like, it's the joy that resonates.
That's so dope, though, that you have, so you've done well in business at 33.
Thank you.
That's getting to the point where some people never get.
I'm very thankful for that, but I'm as hungry as the day as I got into it. Like, I'm not gonna stop doing what I do or get complacent. Even though I've been doing wrestling, I've still been bringing income into Luxe. Mm-hmm. So it's like, that I'm always gonna be a hustler. That's just who I am. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm gonna try to make $1 out of 10 cents every day.
So when you went from working for your uncle, were you just selling jewelry?
Absolutely.
When you started?
Absolutely. I was selling, and then I got more responsibilities. I got to take care of paperwork. I got to I basically, every time there was an opportunity to do something, I said, I'll do it.
Okay.
And if I do it wrong, teach me how to do it, and I'll do it.
So you weren't scared?
No, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, also, it's crazy, again, ties right back into wrestling, because they tell us all the time, they're like, make yourself indispensable. Like, if you really want a job in this industry, make yourself indispensable. You know, do things that other people may not have the time to, because any job, big or small, is a job, and it'll lead to something. You know what I mean? Like, we've had people come in and lecture us, and they're like, you know, I worked for this small indie promotion, but for them, I was a commentator, a ring announcer, a referee. I did their social media. I did their video edits. I did all this stuff, and then so when it was time for a bigger company to come and look for somebody, they're like, well, this guy wears so many hats. Like he's so valuable.
He's indispensable.
Right. And so only two things could happen at that point. You either go for the bigger company that's going to offer you a better situation, or this company realizes they can't lose you and they offer you a better situation.
Either way, you win.
Either way, you're the winner in that situation. So that's what that leads to, you know. So just open yourself up to opportunities, live outside your comfort zone a little bit, but learn something.
So did you take his store and like rename it and create your own LLC and kind of take what he taught you and like put your art into it? I mean, is that...
Yeah, so in 2012, there was a store of his at the mall at Stonecrest that was losing money. I knew why it was losing money, but it was kind of hard because I was kind of in charge of a few stores at this point, but I wasn't really in charge. Like, I wasn't a manager. I wasn't anything like that. I was kind of just like the agent that was sent from store to store to kind of like see what was going on, see if they needed anything. But that particular store, I saw them doing really well in sales, but for some reason they were losing money. Now, it's not, you know, Sherlock Holmes logic. You should know that if that's happening, someone's pocketing the money. That's all it is. So I knew that the manager that he had there was taking more than his share. So I was like, he said he wanted to sell the store because it was losing money. I said, I'll buy it from you. I'll take this store. So I ended up buying it from him. I ended up paying him off. I think we settled up within like 2 or 3 years. I paid him off. And he basically said, the inventory in that store, whatever you want to keep, you pay for it. Whatever you don't want to keep, I'll take it back and I'll put it into my other stores. So I was like, okay, cool. So I took it over, and then that store finally started to flourish, and then it started to do more than what it was originally doing because of the potential I put into it with my marketing and my thinking and the way I do things. So that's why I was able to take that store, and now we have 3 locations. So
the Mall of Georgia.
Stonecrest, which is the original one, and then we have one inside the America's Mart, which is in downtown Atlanta, but that's more of like, it's not open to the public.
Okay.
Yeah.
VIP.
That's so cool. See, my thing with jewelry, actually on the first one of these I was talking about my grills, and my appeal, or the reason why it's so appealing to me, is there's just several things. I think I told you when we were getting them, is like the history of it. Like, I know they've been around for like 5,000 years. And then also, for me, it's the science behind it, right? So gold is the best conductor, one of the best conductors there is. I use my mouth to make money, either on sales, recruiting, or now the podcast. I mean, the podcast I'm really just doing for love, but eventually I think it's going to end up prospering. So for me, like that's such a huge appeal. Plus, I just think it looks cool. Like that's another huge thing, too.
Oh, absolutely.
What is it for jewelry for you in particular?
So jewelry for me in particular is kind of like kind of the same reason why I originally wanted to be a wrestler. There's like an exclusivity to it. You know, not everybody has access to it, and not everybody is going to be able to afford it. And I kind of like that. I kind of like the fact that it's not something for everyone. You know,
but that gives it value.
Right. It's only and that word is actually like down to the finite point of jewelry. Value is like the word that is the most finesse. And I say that because at the end of the day, you're paying for something that's not going to keep you warm. It's not going to give you shelter. It's not going to nourish you. It's something that's a complete luxury.
Yeah.
Right? But it's somehow become a necessity almost in the culture. Like, if you don't have this, you don't have status. If you don't have this, you can't get married. Right? You can't get engaged. Right? So like the actual like value, or the idea of value behind jewelry, is kind of why I love it. It's because it's like I said, exclusive. It's not for everyone. It's a VIP experience in itself. Not everybody can walk into a store and be like, hey, here's $1,000 out of my pocket.
Right.
For something that's not going to feed me, you know, clothe me, or keep me warm.
That's so true.
Right? So
I used to bartend. I was never even thinking about
jewelry at the time.
Yeah, right. I just, you know,
and so, you know, as you go up in life, and go up being like, you know, not grow up, but just go up in your mentality. Like, the more you mature, the more you see it, you start realizing like, hey, instead of buying stocks or instead of buying Jordans and instead of buying, you know, something that's going to sit there and maybe go up or down, gold has been going up
right,
year after year after year. Perfect example is I met somebody and they had a really nice Figaro chain on. And I was like, yo, that's a really nice chain. They don't make them like that anymore. I was like, yeah, my dad bought that. And he passed away. He handed it to me. He bought it probably in the 60s. And I was like, well, you've made a lot of money on that chain. And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I bet you that your dad, whatever he paid for it, you multiply that by 10 or 12, that's what it's worth right now. And he's like, no way. And I was like, go look at the gold price. You can check what the gold price was in the 60s. If you know the exact year, the exact month, you can check. It's historically documented. And see what it is now. Multiply that by the gram of your chain.
Yeah.
You're going to know exactly how much money you've made. And that's the thing. Like when people buy gold, they're like, well, what if in like a few years I don't want it? I was like, in a few years,
it's going to be worth more.
It's going to be worth more. In a few years, you're going to want to hand it down.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to want to do. People buy this stuff and put it in safety deposit boxes.
Right.
That's what they do. It's a whole culture, you know, to buy gold, like even raw, unrefined, forget finished pieces. I broker gold too, like gold bars, gold bricks, gold balls, everything. So, you know, that's a whole thing in itself where people buy that, just let it sit, and then later they want to sell it back. It's raw gold. Jewelers always need raw gold to make jewelry. They can get their money back out of it super easy.
Right.
So, you know, that's kind of why I like it. Awesome. It's like the value and the exclusivity that comes with it.
What's your favorite metal?
My favorite metal. So, that's a tricky question.
And what's the difference between, I guess before we get to that, what's the difference between yellow gold and white gold? So we call him white gold now because he got that white gold necklace from you.
Right.
And the opposite, we call him white gold.
So gold is the same when it comes out the ground, okay? When we refine it and finish it into a product, we can either finish it with a polish, regular polish, which keeps it yellow, or we can put rhodium on top of it. Rhodium makes it white. Wow. Now, rhodium is another metal that comes out of the earth. The value of rhodium versus the value for gold, which I'm going to show you right now.
Rhodium. I've never even heard of that.
Nobody has. Look, this is a gold spot app, okay? So it shows you gold price daily. Gold price has gone up 40 cents overnight. So an ounce of gold right now, the asking price is $1,729.30.
Wow.
Okay? The spot price for rhodium is
$22,000.
$22,000 versus $1,700.
Whoa.
And it's funny because when people ask us like, oh, why does my white gold chain cost more than a yellow gold chain? That's why, because we have to put rhodium on it. Rhodium is a lot more expensive. I mean, it's not like, you know, it's like a very minimal amount of rhodium that takes to make that whole chain white. But we still got to pay for that much rhodium.
Yeah. Right.
I was going to say, it's, what, 12, 15 times more expensive?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, that's the whole thing about it is like that's the difference between yellow gold and white gold. And then rose gold, we take the rhodium and add a chemical to it that turns it pink, and then we put that on the yellow gold. That makes it rose gold. So
cool. Metallurgy.
It's all chemical process. It's all science and metals.
That's wild. Where's rhodium? Is rhodium found like same place as gold's found?
No, I think it's found in different spots. I have to do a little bit more research on that.
Okay.
So I will look into that, though, because I do like learning. So I'll look more into where rhodium is mined, but I think it's not found where gold is found.
And then does platinum come out of the ground too?
Yes. So platinum is another natural metal, comes out the ground. It's supposed to be harder than gold. So if you take 24 karat gold, pure gold, and you take 99% platinum, which is pure platinum, the platinum will be harder than the gold. But usually the gold that we wear is 10 karat, 14 karat gold. That's actually harder than platinum because of the additives that are put in it. So 24 karat gold is pure gold. When you have 14 karat gold, it's actually 58.8% gold, and then the rest is like additives, like copper, nickel, brass, all that stuff. So it makes it harder than the platinum. So people usually buy platinum with the age-old saying like, oh, it's harder, it's a tougher metal. Yeah, it's true, but it's not true when it comes to what you wear, like your jewelry. So it's funny because there's so many people I have to explain that to because they come in, they just want platinum. And I'm like, why do you want platinum? Oh, because it's the hardest metal. Well, no, it's not. Not for what you're looking for here. If you're buying it raw, then yeah, but you're not buying it raw. So I have to like explain that to them.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How expensive is platinum?
Platinum's cheaper than gold.
Is it?
Right now, I believe so. We can check that app again. Yep. So spot price for platinum is $1,208, and then spot price for gold was $1,729.
Wow.
So.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
So theoretically, if I were to get platinum girls, it'd be cheaper than gold.
Theoretically, yes, but then no, just because this doesn't take into account labor, and it's a lot harder to work with platinum. So then your labor price comes up a lot higher. But if you're talking about just spot for raw, then yeah, it's cheaper to buy platinum right now.
Is platinum considered a good conductor as well?
So gold is the best conductor as far as heat and electricity goes, and so a lot of big companies that do like aeronautics and stuff like that will use silver actually, just because it's the second best and it's cheaper than gold. And gold is the best conductor, and it can last for a long time. It can run a lot of conductivity through it without deteriorating. Silver will be the next best. Platinum, I've never heard of anybody using that, but it might have to do with pricing. People use more silver because of pricing. So if we look back at this, I know this third time I'm showing you this app now. Look at how cheap silver is compared to gold.
That's crazy.
Per ounce.
Right.
So if you have to use, gold tipped or silver tipped, things in your whatever you're building for conductivity, you'd go for silver just because you'd be saving. Right. You'd be saving a lot of money, but still getting the conduciveness.
But in actual efficiency would be gold.
Right.
So
absolutely.
I used to have this weird trippy belief that like humans from the future, or somehow we're programmed to know that gold, these metals would have a great electrical conducting to them, because gold's always been valuable even before we had electricity and things like that. And now I know like in a lot of electronics and stuff like that, they use gold. And I used to always feel like somehow it was programmed in us to value these metals even before we knew why.
Yeah.
Because
that's a good point.
To me, gold's always been valuable from what I know of. Like even, people in like the Bronze Age, and they needed like metals to like kill and hunt, gold was still valued.
Absolutely, yeah.
So to me, it was just...
It's because it's easy to work with? It's malleable? Is that why?
I don't know. It's either...
I mean, if you look at the great empires throughout history, their currency's always been gold.
Yeah.
So it's always had the highest value. And, like, if you think of the concept of currency, it kind of seems like you're being suckered into something that is, like, not... Like, it's like almost used car salesman-y. Oh, yeah, I'll give you this hard-earned thing that I farmed for a couple of those gold pieces. And it's kind of like, well, who said that this was worth anything? You know what I mean? But then it goes back to like, yeah, it was used in weapons, and it was used in so many things.
Building.
To build
temples,
and whatnot. Right. It was
it
was the tip of the Pyramid of Giza.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The Egyptians were huge on that.
Right. And then they used it because lightning would strike it, and they'd be safe because the gold would absorb the lightning. And so... I've read somewhere the Pyramid of Giza used to be like pure white with just a gold tip on top.
It was.
Right.
It's actually at the latitude is at the speed of light.
That's what I read. Yes.
It's in. Last time I was talking about it was in feet. It's not feet. It's in meters. So it's like 29.9 or whatever that is.
Right. So I mean, that's the whole thing is like, gold has been around since the ancient Egyptians, which is like where first texts come from. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of theories that the world already happened once, like to the peak of civilization, and then something reset it, and
because like for us everything's digital,
right?
So if you just had an EMP and the buildings slowly rot away, there's no evidence of any computers. I mean,
true.
You know what I mean? The satellites are up there,
True.
Everything can be wiped out.
Everything can be wiped out, or if a meteor hits, that's like an atomic blast right there, come from space. So it can easily, the dust, particles, everything can wipe out civilization. Give it enough time,
The flood from Noah or Gilgamesh or whatever mythology or spirits.
Any kind religion,
there's always like some kind of flood that wipes out the world.
Mm-hmm. Any kind of apocalyptic disaster.
And a restart.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's that theory.
Some people think we came from Mars.
Yeah, some people
because they're finding microbial life. If the atmosphere dissolved on Mars, they could have shot over to Earth.
And there's a theory that this is just a simulation. Like, we're all just here. Somebody's observing all of this.
Principle.
Right. Somebody's just observing. Like, they're beings observing us, that extraterrestrial, highly intellectual beings that are observing. Like, we're essentially a science project for somebody.
Well, that would make sense with religion.
Yeah, I mean,
it kind of lines up to a degree.
A lot of things make sense if you put enough of this into it. So, but I don't like to subscribe to one theory because they all sound kind of cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I keep my mind open. Yeah.
Still learning.
Exactly.
Quit learning, you start dying.
Exactly. And there's a whole Men in Black thing. Like, we're just a smaller universe and a bigger universe, and like there's a universe in here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's just smaller universes everywhere. Like, and we're just like in this universe. So yeah, it's or like Horton Hears a Who. I guess that was. I watched that movie the other day with my kids, and it's all about like. These guys are a small universe inside a flower that this elephant finds, and and like he can talk to one of them, and the one guy seems crazy because he's like, "There's a giant elephant god that's talking to me," and everybody's like, you're the mayor of our town, and now we don't believe you. You know, like the whole thing. And I'm like watching it with my kids. I'm like, whoa. I'm learning things from what they're watching. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, this is pretty cool. So yeah, it's, you know, all these theories and whatnot. Like, there's a reason, you know, that gold could be the thing that binds, you know, us to the higher beings or the extra beings or the before beings or whatever. Right, you know, like, yeah, it could be something like that. It comes out the ground. So
I like the term before beings. I've never heard that.
The before beings,
yeah, you know,
makes sense though.
Yeah. So like, it's just, you know, it's cool to think about.
That's cool as shit.
He'll tell you that's basically all I think about.
We've done like those many joint walks talking about that shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's good to take your mind to the horizon and then try to push that horizon.
Well, we were talking about the simulation theory one time. It's like, well, even if it is, it's still real.
True.
The simulation is still happening, regardless if there's other people observing. We're still in it.
True. It's what I was telling you earlier. Like, you know, before we came on the air, I said some people are just living life, but they're not living life. You know what I mean? And it's like, even if it is a simulation,
still here.
To me, life is a gift. Yeah. Because I know people that have passed away, and I will know people that aren't born yet. Yep. Right. So like, I know that while you're here, at least I know you exist in some realm of possibility. Yeah. So that's a gift. You know, don't take that for granted, and do what you love 100% of the time. Yeah. That you're here. And that's like the theory I subscribe to most of all. Is beautiful. Like, yeah, it's no like, hey, does it make you happy? No? Then why are you doing it? Right. Don't do that. Do something else that makes you happy, because you're not going to get that time back.
Right. I mean, the way I always think of that, especially with like the simulation and all that, is just, it's the Hermetic teachings. It's right. So just because it's simulation doesn't make it not real for us, because we're still within it, right?
Absolutely.
And being aware of it, maybe you can tap into certain kind of like magical powers or whatever esoteric powers if people want to reference it as. But we still have to play by those rules. And then the people, you know, that die and aren't born yet, I kind of tie that back into the speed of light, where for me, creation and destruction, or birth and death, are constructs of time, and at the speed of light there is no time. Right. So theoretically we've always been there and we've never been there. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely. It's kind of like both are there.
It's always happening and never happen at the same time.
Yeah, it's funny because to a much like dumbed down degree, that's how I feel about money. Like, a lot of people's goal is to be a millionaire, right? Or a billionaire or whatever, or like have all these cars and have all these houses. And like, you know, just basically have your bank account be at a certain level, and that's your idea of success, and that's your idea of goals. And I feel like in the simulation theory, they're actually watching us to see, like, look at this idiot. He thinks this is success. Right. Like, he thinks he has spent no time with his family. He's alone at the end of the day. So like, at the end, I think they're also trying to see if like, if we hold ourselves to their constructs of like, this green paper is what's going to make you happy. Right. You know what I mean? Like that too.
You said like the used car salesman aspect, right? Like money's useful, but it's not the end all be all.
No. Right.
And we're in a highly competitive insurance industry, and our team has essentially rose up, and I'm at a certain level. And I was actually just speaking with one of the vice presidents who's cool as fuck. If he's watching this, dude, you're the man. I'm not gonna say names, but he was like, you know, at the end of it, because I think they don't know how to read me, right? Because I'm at one end, I'm hyper competitive, and I'm all in, and then on the other hand, I'm doing podcasts and wearing gold teeth. So like,
and talking about these theories where
so like everybody else, right, is, and it's not in a negative, because some of them I look up to too, like some of these people that are theoretically beating me, although there's not that many left. You know, I hear them tell stories, and it's like they don't see their family and stuff like that. And my thing is like, I want to win real bad, but I just won't put it. Like, the only thing that exceeds my ambitions is my morals, right? Or my certain like.
I totally get that.
My non-negotiables. So like, the vice president the other day was asking me, he was like, Luke, man, like, we don't know how to read you. Are you happy? And I was like, dude. I'm happy by myself in the car in traffic. I was like, yo, I have fun all the time. Like, I told, like, he'll tell you, I talk to myself, like I'm always laughing. I was like, yo, man, I have a podcast. Like, I'm doing all this other crazy stuff. Like, of course I'm happy. I was like, yo, but at the same time, I'm going to succeed at what I do, because I'm not going to put it above everything else that I do. You know what I mean?
That's why it's real success. Because that's what I was going to say. It's not to say that money isn't valuable. It just might not be the end all be all, only because you can't take it with you.
True.
So it's good to do your best, and if money comes from being the best you, then there's nothing wrong with that.
True. And I mean, some people are like, I just want to make all this money because my idea of success is that my kids and their kids don't have to worry about money.
Well, that makes sense.
Fair enough.
And that's true too. And I think that's what it was for my dad. I think that was my dad's idea of success. I think that he's done really well at that, because if I were to just be a broke ass bum right now and not do anything, I'd be taken care of because of my dad's hard work. Well, not to say that
his work ethic was passed on to you.
Yes, I was gonna say not that I would ever do that. Right. Like I said in the beginning, as long as I have a brain, I have the tools to make money, I'm going to be fine. And I get that from him too. Like, that's something that he instilled in me as well. It's like, you're smart enough that you're not going to have to ask people for money.
Right.
That, like, sorry for the people that are listening to this and not watching it, that your hands will always be able to be like this and not like this.
Oh.
I like that.
That's awesome.
That was his theory, and that's what he grew us up on. It's like, always be in a position to be this and not this.
That's so
if
cool.
That makes sense.
The giver, not the taker.
Yeah, to be able to give to people and not to. And he said, if he told me, he said, you want to know what makes me successful? And I said, what? One day when I was a teenager, and he goes, the fact that no matter who comes to me, if they ask me for something, whether I can get paid back for it or not, I will try to help as much as I can.
Wow.
So that was his idea of being successful. It was like, somebody comes to him like, hey, I really need money, a down payment for a house. I can't get it from a bank. He would be the person. He would be the person to do that for them.
That's so cool.
And as a Muslim, he never believed in interest. So it's not like, I'm giving you $20,000, I want $40,000 back.
You know what's funny is, you say that, I didn't know that was a Muslim thing. Before we were talking about my buddy Jamali, he's one of the most generous people I've ever met in my fucking life. Like, they're balling. They got tons of money. But that dude, you go to the bar with him or something like that. Like,
well, it's kind of funny. I noticed that with you. When I first started doing this, you were...
I'm super generous. Jamali is super generous.
But I feel like if you had like
if I had more money,
absolute buttloads of money,
I would probably be like that,
because that just translates.
I'm extremely generous. I'm to like almost to a fault.
It's funny because you probably are seeing success in your own right because of that, and it's not something you're doing because you're like, oh, the more generous I'll be, the more I'll get back. We never do it for that. We do it just out of the goodness of our heart, and the universe just brings it back to us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just what it is. If you give without any expectations, it comes back to you.
Right.
But that's the key, is like, you really can't have any expectations. Right. And it may not come back to you monetarily. It may come back to you in opportunity. It may come back to you in, something just going your way, in karmic goodness. But, that's sometimes you have to stop and be like, maybe that's because I did that. And you just think about it for a second and just keep living. And, I'm sure you experience that all the time. It happens. It's a real thing.
That happens all the time.
It's tangible as much as people think it's intangible. It's super tangible because it happens all the time to people I know and to myself and probably to you too.
Yeah, so sometimes it puts me in positions where I can't get necessarily something that I want because I've already given out so much. But I just look at it as like, cool, maybe it wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be. Maybe if you got that thing, it would have led to your demise. So,
right.
That's the whole thing, is sometimes it's the unknown that's actually the blessing that you have to just think about it like for a second, like, maybe this happened for a reason that I won't understand, but it happened for a reason. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Right. So is your background Muslim? I know you said you went to Christian church for fun.
Yeah, I was actually,
which I think most Christians don't even do.
Right. Yeah. So I was born Muslim. I was born a Shia Imami Muslim. It's a sect of Islam.
There's Shia and Sharia, if I'm understanding.
So no, it's Sunni and Shia are the two big, diverse.
Isn't there one that's like more militant and then one that's more freeform kind of thing?
Maybe. I think we're more freeform, to be honest with you, because we only pray 3 times a day, where the pillars say to pray 5. But it's more like, I feel like our sect is more of a modern sect. You know what I mean? Like the principles of being a Muslim. One says you have to fast during Ramadan. Right? Like, you have to fast during Ramadan or you're not a Muslim. Let me ask you a question. What if you're diabetic? What if you're pregnant? You gonna die? Do they really want you to die to prove that you're a Muslim?
Right.
Is that what they want? So for us, I've always been taught in my sect, like, yeah, if you have a health condition or you're pregnant or whatever, you don't have to fast, because physically fasting from food is not the goal anyway. It's to be spiritually fasting.
Is it like okay.
Right. It's to not think impure thoughts. It's to try to make yourself a better person. Christian people have Lent where they give something up.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
My dad's doing it right now.
Right, exactly.
He's Catholic.
Yeah, so, Easter's coming up soon, so I know it happens right before then. Just give up bad habits and bad thoughts, you know, like,
okay,
you know, just if you see somebody and you think it's really funny that they're in trouble, try not to think that way.
Or like call yourself out on, I mean,
yeah, it's self-awareness.
Right.
It's 100% self-awareness, because only you're going to know what you think is bad and good. Right. To me, I'm like, hey, these guys are great people. If they probably see me in trouble, they'll probably extend a hand and be like, you know, I understand your pain or whatnot. That could not be the case. You could be one of those people where you see somebody in trouble, you think that's hilarious that person's in trouble.
Right.
Which sometimes it is. Like, you know, as human nature, like, you see somebody like run into a door, and they're like, your nose starts bleeding, you're like, a little bit, right? Yeah. But you really should be like, man, are you okay? Like, can I get you? Like, can we stop? How do we stop your nosebleed? Do you need to go to hospital? You know, like, it's just a matter of kind of changing your perspective, making yourself into a better person is what the fasting is really about, besides the physical fasting.
Okay.
Like, I know people that are great Muslims, okay? In the sense of the term of being a Muslim, where it's brotherhood and morality and ethics, they'll eat a pepperoni pizza.
Right.
Which you're not supposed to do. We're not supposed to eat pork. Okay? Then I know people that are absolute killers. They'll rob you. They'll kill people. They will not touch pork.
So, like, where's the gray area there?
That's and I think, like, when it comes to religion, like man-made religion, that's the part that really trips me up. Into like
the dogma,
right? The dogma of it, and like what are the lines, right? Yeah. Exactly. So like, when we die, is the killer gonna go to heaven because he didn't eat pork? Right. Is the person who actually helps people, does charitable works, but they ate a pepperoni pizza, they're gonna go to hell because of that? Like, that's hard for me to believe 100%.
That's where like the man-made aspect comes. You're like, you could start to see the touch of man.
But still, till this day, I don't eat pork. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a morality habit that's been instilled in me from being born in the religion, and so that's the thing. Like you said, I went to a Christian church when I was younger. My best friend is Korean, and he was Presbyterian, and so every Sunday, I'd go to church with him, and he was part of the praise team. So I was, you know, I did praise team stuff. I did Bible study. I did all that stuff. I read the Bible.
That's so cool.
I've been on Christian retreats. VBS summer camps, lockdowns, like all kinds of stuff. Like, you know, I've fasted with them. We did a lockdown where we fasted all night. So, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, it's just like getting experience, like experiencing things. Like I said, opening yourself to opportunities. Living, exactly. So, you know, and when I tell people that, some people are like, you know, they'll either be like, why'd you do that? Like, seems like a waste of time or whatever. Like, nothing's a waste of time as long as you're creating happiness for yourself.
Right. Oh, man.
Right, so like, as long as you're using time to be happy, you're never wasting it.
Yeah,
you're spending it.
If you like learning, and that was a chance for you to learn, go outside your comfort zone.
Absolutely,
that's a positive.
Religions and mythologies interest me so much. I just bought a bunch of books on Sufism. I'm not sure if you have any background with that. And then I actually got the Quran in English. I haven't read it yet.
Nice,
but
I haven't read the Quran yet either.
Okay,
my mom won't let me.
Really?
She says that because I have a daughter. She says my daughter has to be married before I can read the Quran. I have to be free of all my worldly duties. And only then are you supposed to technically go on pilgrimage. I know people that are my age that still have duties that have gone on pilgrimage, but from what my mom has led me to believe, it's like you have to be free of all your worldly duties to go on pilgrimage or to read the Quran. Because if you have those duties weighing on you, you will never be able to 100% accept the message.
Oh.
Because you'll always be thinking about something. You know, as humans, we always stress about something in the back of our minds. Even though I'm talking to you right now, I'm thinking, oh, this month is Luxe going to do okay? This month, at the end of this month, I have my showcase. Am I going to do okay in a wrestling showcase? These are always in the back of my mind, no matter what's coming out my mouth or what I'm talking about. And as a human, that's just what it is. So they say once really you're done with all your duties and all of your stress is gone, and it's basically like your retirement mode, then you can do these things. Read the Quran, go on pilgrimage.
So what happens if you never made it?
I mean, there's
to the stage.
You know what? And nothing is guaranteed, right? I could leave you guys, and God forbid I pass away tomorrow. Like it could happen. You know, you don't make it to that stage. That's life. You know, that's part of life. And to me, that's what makes life beautiful too. Right. It's not guaranteed.
Yeah, that's so true.
And that's kind of like what drives my decisions every day. You know, like why people will be like, well, why'd you do that? That's really wasteful or something like that. Like why? My dad all the time has a gripe with me because he calls me a 7-star son. He's like, you know, when I travel, I always fly first class. Okay, it's just a principle of mine. Okay, Delta first class. That's what I do. I have my reasons of doing it, and I don't have to explain it to anybody. Right. But to my dad, it seems so wasteful. Like, oh, why are you just buy an economy ticket? where you're wasting so much more money flying first class, you know, and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, but the comfort
I might die tomorrow.
Yeah.
I might die tomorrow, but I did what I love.
The same thing.
I did if I can afford it, I did what I loved, and I'm not, burning through my cash just flying first class, but it's like something that, like I said, sorry listeners, I don't have to defend myself. It's just how I live. I live my life that way. So if you don't like it, you can call me your 7-star son too.
What is a 7-star? What does that mean?
Like a 5-star hotel?
Yeah.
What's just 7-star hotel. Just super extra.
Super extra.
Yeah, that's where it's from. So
that's probably perfect for the guy that does jewelry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, but think about it. If the plane goes down, would you rather be chilling with a cocktail in first class with your feet kicked, or in the back packed in between?
I mean, if the plane goes down, I don't know where I'll be. Probably in the cockpit. Like, why is this plane going down? I want answers. Yeah. I'm paying you for this flight. No, I'm just kidding.
That's hilarious.
No, it's like you said.
Point,
nothing's guaranteed tomorrow. So live your life to the best you can today. You know what I mean? Like, if there's a risk out there, you're really scared to take the risk. Sometimes the risk might turn into another R word.
Reward.
But maybe an R word that you will, till the day you die, regret. Right? So you're right. Risk can turn into a reward. It can also turn into a regret. I'd rather it turn into a reward, or maybe even a failure, than a regret.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Than the path not traveled.
It's almost like a regret's like an eternal failure.
It kind of is if you think about it, because I mean there's all these things that we've lived through, and we're like, well, maybe I should have done that, and that always outweighs I did this and failed. Always. I did it and failed just means you learned a way not to do something.
Right.
You can learn a million ways not to do something. That'll teach you the right way to do something. Right? But if you don't do something, you're on the other end of that shadow. That's going to be worse than trying and failing. Like a lot of people, and me especially, like learning to be a wrestler now, it's like we learn that a lot of people, the reason that we get punched in the face in the ring and the audience connects with that is because we all never want to be punched in the face. Never, ever. That's nothing like, hey, you want to get a punch in the face? No. And then you're going to be like, oh, I did not regret that later.
Oh, right.
But then later, if you get into a fight, a real fight with someone, are you going to be able to take a punch to the face?
I was going to say, I'm happy I've been punched in the face. So,
you know what it feels like.
Yeah.
Right? It sucks.
Yeah.
But you know what it feels like, and you know what you can take.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't seem like a regret.
You realize you're more durable than you
right. It doesn't seem like a regret at the time. It doesn't. Like, oh, I did not regret that guy offering to punch me in the face and me walking away from it. But in certain situation, it could be. It's just how you look at it. It's all perception, right? So that's the thing, man. That's the beauty of life. It's like you might not see things the way I do, but my 2 cents is my 2 cents, and I don't have to defend it to you. So
I'm digging it.
I love it.
I'm digging it. Mike just told us we hit that 1 hour mark.
Oh man.
I know you have to meet up with family.
I do. My little brother got married this weekend.
Yeah.
That was the video we were seeing.
Yeah. So
the mustard and syrup.
In my culture,
eggs.
we do a thing called a piti, and that is basically like a bachelor party, but not as glamorous as like an American bachelor party where you go to like a strip club and have like a night out with your boys, cigars and steaks. It's more like we strap you to a chair, hit you with a bunch of eggs and shaving cream and mess you up. So I was showing these guys my little brother. He got messed up. And it was just 11 minutes of glory.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Right. Like he's in a chair. I start with an egg, then some shaving cream, and then all these guys come in with chocolate syrup, ketchup, mustard, relish, just dump it on the groom,
And then you just get a hose and just...
Yep. We just prison break him out with the hose. Just, hose him down. Yeah, exactly. Just freezing cold water.
That's hilarious.
Freezing. No, it's funny because I was like... to mess with him more because he had everything in his face, he can't really see. I'm like, hey, I'm turning on the hose, but it's not turning on. And he's like, oh, don't tell me that now. And I was like, yeah, I guess there's no water. You're just gonna have to drive home and clean up. And he's like, no, because he was in my dad's Lexus and he was so afraid of getting it messed up. And I was like, and then I hit him with the hose without warning him. So yeah.
Where are they getting married at?
They got married so we just did like a in-church type wedding where there was only like 15 people because of COVID.
Oh, right.
And then we celebrated it at Little Mulberry Park where they had
nice.
like a...
dude, that's right over like near Hamilton Mill?
Yep, near Hamilton Mill.
Yeah, dude, I grew up right there.
Yeah, they had that, what's the thing, the covered...
like a... I know
it starts with a P. I want to say pagoda, but I think that's wrong.
Is it a gazebo?
Gazebo. It starts with a G. Okay.
Gazebo.
So,
yeah.
They had like a gazebo area. We like rented it out, and like we just had the family under the gazebo. Everybody was masked up and stuff, and everybody just kind of sat apart, ate food, then came together, and
That's cool.
did little ceremonies and whatnot, and
nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
That was like the first time we actually seen our families since the pandemic. So
Really?
it was like a big thing for us.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm out here wilding.
Yeah,
I'm seeing everybody.
Yeah.
I'm walking into bars with no mask and shit.
I'm like, so I'm diabetic, or at least I think I was. I may not be diabetic anymore. I actually lost 25 pounds since I started wrestling.
Yeah, I was about to say, you look like you.
Thanks, man.
That's why I was going to ask, like, about the conditioning. It was more like, is it like crazy rigorous exercises y'all are doing, like running and boxing?
Like, I've never had like calluses, and like I have like, you know, like crazy calluses and stuff.
You're doing like weight training and shit?
Yeah. So for the first 2 hours is how we walk in. For the first 2 hours, we're in the ring. We're either learning moves, learning how to wrestle, or actually performing, like with a partner. Like,
oh, wow.
They'll partner you and me together, and we'll throw a match together, and we'll actually perform it for the rest of the class, get critiqued on it. Then the next 2 hours after that, we're with our strength and conditioning coach, and it's with Chip Smith over here in Norcross, and they pretty much condition people that are going out for the combine, for the NFL combine. Wow. And it's a very similar training we go through, and it's very, very difficult. But like, there's a big sign on the wall, and I read it every day, and it said crawling is allowed, bleeding is allowed, crying is allowed, all these things, and at the bottom it says quitting is not allowed.
Wow.
So no matter what, no matter if I'm the last guy, the slowest guy,
right?
I'm not as in shape as a lot of these people, but as long as I cross that finish line that day,
you're getting better.
I'm good. I'm doing better. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and like, you know, they'll make us do things like they'll load up a trap bar with like, you know, 3 plates of 45 on each side, and you have to carry that 25 yards and back. And every 5 yards you have to stop and do 2 deadlifts, or you have to stop and do 2 shrugs. And so just from that, like, I wear gloves because I try to protect my hands because I'm a jeweler.
Right.
But like, even through the gloves, you know, I got these calluses from that. And it's like the hardest part of that exercise is actually holding that damn thing. Mm-hmm. Not just like
grip strength. Yeah.
Right. Just not just even the weight of it, but exactly, like, breaks your grip. Mm-hmm. And like, that's like the worst part, because once your grip starts breaking, you start dropping that, and you got to like pick it back up and start again. Yeah. So
that's cool.
They put us through it, man. They do. But
so your wife and family got to kind of love that, though. Like,
just, dude,
you getting healthier. And
I was like 2 days ago walking around the house, just my underwear. My wife's like, "Oh, your stomach looks like it's gone in." I was like, "Yeah."
Oh, tell me again.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, "Yeah, next time say another body part." Yeah. So that's what it is. It's me, like, you know, my traps have gotten bigger. I've seen like little things in myself that I'm like,
if you lost 25 pounds, you probably really lost like 50 and added some weight and muscle.
Gain muscle, definitely gain muscle. I definitely am a lot stronger than I was when I started. And like this, if you want to train to be a pro wrestler, this program it's the Nightmare Factory. Their school is probably the most elite school in the country, and I highly recommend it.
My buddy told me that.
I highly recommend it. If you're serious about what you do, try to get a spot in there. And it's not easy to get a spot, but try to get a spot in there, because it's worth it at the end. It's 100% worth it, just like the program they make you go through. And don't just go in verbally. Go in with your heart.
Right.
Go in and do what they're telling you to do. Because there are people that I'll give you an example. There's people that get hurt. We all get hurt. You know, it's a physical contact sport. Right. Sometimes things go wrong. There are people that get hurt. They show up the next day, and they're sitting in the chair because they can't perform. I feel bad for them, because we paid to be there. Okay. I myself went through a surgery on my lower back. That same day, I was back at the Nightmare Factory, laced up my boots, and got up on the ring apron. And our Coach Mike, he was showing us how to do new moves. And the moves included a headlock takeover. A headlock takeover, the person getting taken over lands on their back. And I told him, I was like, I just had the surgery, I can't do it today. And he didn't look at me and go, then why are you up here on the ring apron? Like, why did you get dressed up and come up here? He said, okay. Continued to work the students through, did everything. I said, Ali, I'm going to teach you to take a drop toe hold. You land on your front. Get in the ring. So he modified the thing for me, because he saw that
you showed up.
I showed up, and I laced up my boots, and I was on the apron. And so he did something for me.
Nice.
And that whole week we had matches, and I've modified my matches so that every time I took a bump, it was a front bump rather than a back bump. And that's, you know, that just doing stuff that's like so that. Cool, you know, doing it with your heart rather than just like saying you're there. You know what I mean? Because plenty of people show up and they're, you know, oh, my shoulder hurts. You know, they're sitting there with an ice pack on their shoulder just watching us do things. Man, even if my shoulder was completely broken off, I'd still lace up those boots and get on the apron and be like, what can I do with my left hand? Right. You know what I mean?
Be the man. You gotta beat the man. Woo, woo, woo.
That's right. So there you go. That was awesome. A nice little surprise.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. But yeah, so it's just like, you know, I highly recommend going to their school. This is a shameless plug for their school. But I highly recommend going there if you can and learning from them, because like I said, they're the best in the country, man. They're the best in the country.
That's crazy how it's right here.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know.
I had no idea.
And
it'd be like Vegas.
Exactly, you would think so. And they have so many wrestling schools in LA. They have so many wrestling schools in the Midwest. But like this one is like one of the most elite, and they teach you how to wrestle what I like to say the right way, which is like they basically make it so that you protect the person you're working with and yourself to the fullest. Like if you do what they're saying and you make it a habit, you will find work.
Nice.
Okay.
You'll find work in some capacity. People want people from this school because we're being taught the right way to do things. No shortcuts.
You're not going to show up and hurt somebody.
Are you able to say the company you're going to premiere for? You said you're going to have a debut showing?
So we're having a showcase for the Nightmare Factory, which is our school. After that, there's no guarantees. Okay, so I'm not guaranteed a contract anywhere. I'm not guaranteed work anywhere. It's the amount of effort that I put into that is what I'll get out of it.
Okay.
Right? So as the Sheik, there is a certain kind of experience I want to bring to you.
Right.
And if I'm successful in showing bookers from different promotions that experience, I think they'll be more likely to be like, hey, we want the Sheik as part of our promotion.
Okay.
You know, if I can convey that message.
You have a quote on your Instagram that I love. I thought a broke joker was saying something.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if that's your tagline, but I like that.
No, it was just a caption I came up with for that, and it's funny because I promoted that post, and the first person was like, "You actually paid for this," and I was like, "Please refer to the caption because you're the person I'm talking about." And it was just like, I'm paying to get my brand out there. Yeah. I'm not ashamed of it. You know, you got to pay for.
I thought it was cool as hell. I've literally used that line.
Yeah, like absolutely.
I thought a broke joker was saying something.
Yeah, I thought a broke joker was saying something. I think that's like a money like tagline.
It's all the Sheik, baby. Like that's his whole persona right there. Is like he's not a broke guy. Like it's funny because we're in a group chat together, me and all the people in this camp for the Nightmare Factory, and one guy's gimmick is kind of like he's like real scrappy. Like he has holes in his shoes. Like he'll do whatever he can to win, and he's all about family. And him and I were going back and forth in our gimmicks. Like basically I was a Diamond Sheik and his name is Aaron Kirk. And we were going back and forth. And then he said something about like, I'll save all the money I can. I'll even shop at a dollar store. And then I said, what in the blue hell is a dollar store? And literally popped my whole class. They were like, the Sheik! They loved it. And it's just like, that's what the Sheik is. Like he doesn't know what a dollar store is. Like, he has no idea. Like, if you were to tell him, like, oh, yeah, you could just pick up some cups from a Dollar Tree, he'd be like,
what's that?
Is there a tree that has dollars on it?
I need to buy one of those.
Yeah, I need a few of those in my backyard. Like, that's who the Sheik is. And to me, extent, like I said, 7-star son. Like, I just bring my authenticity from that.
Have you thought about, like, your costume? Like,
yes. So,
like, are you going to, what's your,
I think I saw it.
So I was actually referred. Cool. So the thing you saw on Instagram is kind of like sherwani, which is like a traditional, piece of clothing that's kind of like more for weddings or like formal wear.
It looks like the wedding gear of your brothers. That you saw.
Right, exactly. So like that kind of stuff I would probably come out to the ring in, but I'd need some actual gear to wrestle in. That's actually like movable and I could wrestle in. So I actually got referred to a gentleman named Rick with GW Wrestlewear or Wrestle Gear, something like that. And he makes pieces for a lot of wrestlers. Like he's done robes for Charlotte, he's done robes for Rick, he's did Jade's gear. She premiered on AEW alongside Shaq in that match.
Wow.
He does stuff for AJ Styles, he does stuff for Dolph Ziggler, he does stuff for a lot of wrestlers. And I contacted him and I was like, he's not gonna take me seriously, I'm not contracted to be on TV or whatever. And then he's like, okay, come in for a fitting. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm actually going to go into his, shop and get fitted. I drove up to his shop, which is like up in, it's like north from here, 985 north. I had to drive like an hour to get there. But I went into his shop and such a nice guy. And we just started talking and I was like, okay, just be real with me. Like, you do all these, like, why are you doing my gear? And he's like, to be honest with you, if you're not on TV, I don't do your gear. And I was like, well, Rick, I hate to break it to you, but I'm not on TV. And he's like, well, you were a referral. And I was like, okay, so who referred me? Like who said my name to get me into the door with you? I wanted to know because that's a blessing. You know, it's a blessing that to have some. He said, who didn't say your name? Shaquille O'Neal, Jade, Ric Flair, and Charlotte Flair all said your name.
Wow.
I was like, that's amazing.
That's incredible.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I was so humbled at that. I felt this small at that moment. Right.
Well, that just shows the impression you gave on all of them.
Absolutely. And like, I love all of them. They're all like family to me. Like, I don't see them as like, you know, these celebrities with their heads up their asses. Like, they're literally people I speak to on the phone or FaceTime. And like, they're like my friends. So like, for them to say that and for me to be in his shop getting fitted for my gear.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and having quality gear like that from Rick, who does like the best gear, like the best. So, you know, it's definitely check him out. GW Wrestlewear or Wrestle Gear on Instagram. He's phenomenal work. But yeah, so I will have gear for my premiere.
Are you gonna be like?
I can't really get into it because I think Rick and I want to keep it kind of a secret. But he's drawing a lot of inspiration.
Yeah, let us know, please.
He's drawing a lot of inspiration from Coming to America too.
Okay.
Oh, that's
so like there's a lot of
last night.
There's a lot of cool stuff in there. Like you saw, right? Like a lot of their outfits and whatnot. So he's drawing like inspiration from that, which I love. I'm like, okay, cool. It's not directly my culture, but it's the culture. You know what I mean? Like it's a culture that I'm proud to be a part of. That's cool. Especially being a jeweler. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, he's drawing some inspiration from that. He's drawing some inspiration from the Sherwani that I'm wearing on Instagram and like kind of mixing things together for me. But all I can say is going to be kind of like Bam Bam Bigelow style. So like it'll be like full tights and like a short sleeve top, you know, and like kind of that kind of like one piece looking, but it's actually two pieces. Okay. But
yeah, save it. I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah. So it'll be, I mean, you'll be able to see our whole showcase on YouTube.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the month. Which is scary saying it out loud because we've
2 weeks.
I feel like we just started. Yeah. But like, you know, we're coming to a point where we'll be able to put on a match for you guys.
So the camp was. You're 11 weeks in, so it's like
this
3
is week
months
11.
essentially.
Yeah. This is week 11.
Is there able to be live viewing? Like, can we go watch it?
I think so. I think
let me know if we can.
It's very. I'd love to have you guys. It's very limited,
right?
Because of COVID, and you guys probably have to wear masks. But like, definitely they'll record it and put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that way everybody can see it. But if there's like a limited number they give me, I'll definitely invite you guys.
Trust me, we will go nuts. We'll be screaming. We'll be going nuts.
Absolutely. You guys have to. You guys have to boo me, okay?
Of course.
Yeah. Just boo me because I'm not going to be a nice guy.
You're going to be a heel?
I mean,
me
being the Sheik, I feel like I'm not as relatable as like a Dusty Rhodes or like a working man. You know what I mean?
What if I'm just a bad guy in the crowd, just booing the peasants? I'm cheering you on.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever makes
scumbags get a job.
What's funny is it's
like
almost
I said, whatever makes you happy.
Is it like a release for you because you're like I can tell you're like a really nice guy. So is it almost like a cool like?
It kind of is.
It's like acting. You tap into a part of yourself that you don't get to express.
Exactly. It's like kind of me being able to do my improv. You know what I mean? And kind of like lay into like a character that
I can't wait to see it.
That I just like wouldn't usually be in real life. So it is kind of like it's theater.
It's tapping into your shadow self.
Right, and it's like a lot of Chopin for me. Just like being able to like be grandiose and be like kind of dickish.
Show off a little bit.
Show off a little bit. So. Like the whole dollar store thing, like that was me, like totally not jabbing at the dude saying it, or jabbing at anybody, but jabbing at the general idea of like, what is a dollar store, right? Like, what is that? Like the other day, somebody was like, "Hey, did you know they came out with a new Monster flavor?" And I was like, "Monster," and they're like, "Yeah, the energy drink. You get one at Quick Trip." And I was like, what is a Quick Trip? And then he's like, are you sheeking me right now? And I was like, no, I really don't know what a Quick Trip is. And he's like, it's the gas station down the road. And I was like, wait, you mean that's where like the peasant guy comes and puts the gas in your car and you give him like $100 and drive away? That place? And then he's like, oh, chic. And I was like,
oh, chic.
I was like, you already know, like, like everyday things are a little different to the chic. So that's the
cool.
thing.
I'm excited for that.
Man, I'm digging it.
That's so cool.
I think it's a beautiful way to end. So, guys, anybody that's listening, you're looking for jewelry, this is the spot to go. It's Luxe Jewelers.
There you go, Luxe Jewelers.
At Stonecrest, Mall of Georgia. And where's the third one?
It's downtown Atlanta by appointment only.
Okay, so you guys probably are not big enough to get there. You just broke jokers listening.
So it's not actually for like celebrities or anything. It's actually where we do a lot of our manufacturing. So that's why it's kind of like that. But if you if you wanted to come and shop there are like some like more bridal. Like if you're looking for like a nice engagement ring or something like that, I'll take you to that location.
Okay.
But like if you want like a nice Cuban chain or like emerald cut, like baguettes or something, like a piece made or a grill or something, I'm probably going to take you to Mall of Georgia or Stonecrest. So.
Okay.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. Well, small world, a lot of different synchronicities happening today. Hopefully, get this thing I'm looking at later. Good luck on your showing, man. Dude,
Thank you.
We're here. We're cheering you guys on.
So I'm gonna tell you guys on social. We're big on Instagram, so you can follow us at Luxe Jeweler, not Jewelers. At
LUXE.
LUXE Jeweler. You can follow me at the Diamond Chic on Instagram and at Diamond Chic on Instagram and at the Diamond Chic on Twitter.
Awesome.
Diamond Chic was taken.
Apparently it was, yeah. Some guy with like 5 followers and no like
so
just to piss me off. That's all. They're like, I know, like he got it like 2010, so he was like, I know 6 years from now, like, or like, you know, like sorry, 11 years from now, someone's gonna be pissed off at this. I'm just gonna take it.
It'll be worth it.
Yeah, totally worth it just to piss me off that one time. But yeah, so at the Diamond Chic on Twitter, at Diamond Chic on Instagram. I need followers, so yeah. Please do follow and interact. Like not just follow, but like if you see me and I look like a jackass to you, tell me I look like a jackass.
Yeah.
There's nothing I love more. So
a good heckle.
Yeah, a good heckle. Keep me on my toes. I will respond to you without being rude to you. So. That's
rude. Throw some jabs.
I would
throw a chic jab.
I'll throw a chic jab, which is kind of like I might be more rude towards like what you're talking about than you. You know what I mean? Because I still want to retain fans. Like I want people to be in the crowd for me, and so. But it just gives me something to stay on my toes about. Throw a little improv at.
Sounds
cool,
good.
Man.
And we want to thank Mike and Amanda as always.
Thank you, Mike and Amanda.
RadioX, such a great place.
I just met them today, but we're already getting married.
All right, guys.
Love it.
And this is episode 3 of Free Game Podcast. Again, free, unrestricted game, life, business, mindset.